Hello, my name is Randy Silva, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the July 31st issue of the Rochester Business Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Lights, Camera, Action. Rochester emerges as destination for filmmakers by Kevin Oklobzija. There's been no campaign to erect Rochester in huge white letters atop Cobb's Hill, a la the iconic Hollywood sign in the Santa Monica Mountains. But Greg Smith figures it wouldn't be the worst idea to publicize the area's contributions to the big screen. "I don't think people understand the impact that the film industry has here," said Smith, president and CEO of Rochester-based J Advertising. Sure, the Eastman Kodak Company has, for more than a century, been manufacturing film for the motion picture industry. Christopher Nolan's current box office blockbuster, The Odyssey, used more than 2 million feet of Kodak film during production. But the region has also become a desirable place for production. Filmmakers are finding everything they need for their movies in Rochester and neighboring communities. A quaint Main Street setting? There are plenty of choices throughout the Finger Lakes. A bucolic countryside? Even easier. The serenity of a summer night on the water? Take your pick of lakes. People are realizing they don't need to go to the huge studio model, said Gene Smith, founding partner and creative director at FLX Studios of Rochester. You can go from an apple orchard to a city in 15 minutes. If you're in Manhattan, you can't go anywhere in 15 minutes unless you're walking, which is the message Nora Brown and the Rochester/Finger Lakes Film Commission have been selling to the movie-making industry for 3 decades, especially in California. Thanks to New York State tax credits, it's a message that is well received, too. I tell them, "We've stolen your wine business, and now we're trying to steal your film industry," Brown said with a smile. Producers love the diners here, the drive-in theaters, the homes on East Avenue. The Film Commission, which was launched in 1990, is a subsidiary of Visit Rochester. Brown, a Penfield High School graduate, joined the office in 2006, leaving the film industry to return home. The Commission's most notable get was The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which, in spring of 2013, used Main Street in Rochester for New York City chase scenes and spent close to $3 million over the 10 days of filming. That included significant spending within the Rochester business community, including 3,000 hotel room nights, catering, tent rentals, storage space, and the payment of police overtime rates. And that's just one movie, albeit a major production. Since Brown came on board, there have been approximately 50 films produced in the region. 2 are in the works now. Cost, or rather the reduced cost, is one reason filmmakers come here. Rates for studios, camera gear, lighting, rental, and ancillary needs are far greater in major markets. Plus, New York State's Film Tax Credit Program may provide a tax credit of up to 40% on production costs if a project meets eligibility requirements. That's a lucrative bonus for movie makers hoping to keep costs down without sacrificing production quality. A requirement of the state program, a local production facility must be used. In Rochester, Magic Spell Productions at Rochester Institute of Technology and FLX Studios on Jostens Drive in Henrietta providing the most extensive services. A film doesn't have to cost $20 million. You can do one now for $2 million or $3 million, FLX Studios' Smith said. His facility just became New York State certified earlier this month. "We received our certificate of occupancy on a Wednesday, and a TV series started filming on Thursday," Smith said. That filming was for Abilene, a great American media production created by Nicholas DeBella that is scheduled to debut in 2027. DeBella grew up in the Rochester suburb of Greece. But it's not just the facilities that have location scouts and production personnel considering Rochester. The ease of doing business is an asset. "It's harder to get permits in LA. You need a permit for everything there," Brown said. "Here, if you're not blocking sidewalks or changing traffic patterns, it's pretty easy to accommodate." Since time is money, production crews don't need to be concerned about delays caused by neighbors, gawkers, or persons intruding in the background of a scene. It's easier here to ensure an on-location shoot is distraction-free, Brown said. Across 20 films in 5 states, Rochester was the best filmmaking experience many of us have ever had, film producer Nicholas Bertelsen said. It also doesn't hurt that because of Brown's own experience in the industry, knowing crews, understanding needs, there's the personal touch that other regions perhaps can't offer. Nora was able to help steer us toward film-friendly communities and help in finding and negotiating with locations and city entities and help with finding crews and vendors, Bertelsen said. Nora's many years of experience as a producer and film commission allowed her to know exactly what we needed, even when we didn't know the right questions to ask. When you're 3,000 miles from home, this is exactly the kind of support you need. If filmmakers require a lush cornfield in the background, they better know when harvesting will begin. If they want a fall motif, they'll need to know when the leaves will start turning. Brown's team can provide those answers based on weather events throughout the year, and not a farmer's almanac guesstimate. So why does bringing film production to Rochester, New York matter? It's simply dollars and cents. Every dollar spent is worth $2.30 in economic impact, Brown said. Which is why New York and surrounding states, including New Jersey, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, have created incentive programs to lure filmmakers. Production spending, Brown said, has a significant impact on the region. Rochester-based CE Tech marks 20 years with a customer-first approach, by Andrea Decker. A Rochester couple who launched an IT consulting business from their basement 20 years ago is celebrating 2 decades of steady growth while positioning the company for its next chapter in an increasingly complex technology landscape. CE Tech, co-owned by Fred and Sue Brum, has grown into a 25-person managed IT services and consulting firm, serving businesses throughout Rochester, Buffalo, and Syracuse. The company provides managed and co-managed IT services, cloud solutions, cybersecurity, compliance support, and technology consulting to organizations ranging from manufacturers and engineering firms to property management companies and physical therapy practices. Despite dramatic changes in technology over the past 2 decades, the Brums say the company's philosophy has remained constant. "We aren't necessarily the biggest, but we are looking to be the best," Fred Brum said. Founded in the couple's basement, CE Tech has expanded alongside businesses' increasing reliance on technology. Today, cybersecurity, regulatory compliance, and cloud computing have become essential functions rather than optional investments, making managed IT services more critical than ever, they say. Fred Brum, who's earned a bachelor's degree in information technology from Rochester Institute of Technology, credits much of the firm's success to its commitment to customer service and integrity. "We treat our customers' challenges as if they're our own," he said, noting that the company's core values emphasize unquestionable integrity and delivering hassle-free IT support. The husband and wife leadership team says their complementary skill sets have helped fuel the company's growth. The two met while working at Eastman Kodak Company before launching CE Tech. Sue Brum, who holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Buffalo and an MBA from RIT, oversees business growth, finance, and human resources. Fred Brum focuses on customer relationships, technical strategy, and supporting the company's team. Artificial intelligence is creating both opportunities and challenges for businesses, they said. While AI enables our organizations to boost productivity and automate tasks, it also gives cybercriminals access to increasingly sophisticated tools. IT is crucial now to every business, Fred Brum said. AI is a game changer for every company. That makes cybersecurity education more important than ever. According to the Brums, phishing attacks remain the leading cyber threat facing businesses. They encourage organizations to invest in employee education and awareness training, conduct third-party cybersecurity assessments, maintain healthy skepticism towards suspicious emails and online activity, and work with trusted IT partners to strengthen their defenses. The company has earned recognition through numerous local and international awards and recently achieved SOC 2 compliance, a certification that demonstrates strong controls for protecting customer data and managing information security. CE Tech also continues to invest in its regional footprint. In addition to its Rochester headquarters, the company opened a Buffalo office a couple of years ago and hopes to establish a Syracuse location in the future. The firm is also open to acquisitions should the right opportunity arise. Sue Brum said the company's long-term strategy centers on maintaining a strong local presence while continuing to build its technical expertise and recruit talent from the region. Rochester's strong technology workforce and higher education institutions provide an advantage, she said, while the company's community roots help distinguish it from larger national providers. Having that personal touch is so valuable, Sue Brum said. 2026 Elevating Women Honorees announced by RBJ staff. The Rochester Business Journal announced that 24 organizations have been selected as 2026 Elevating Women honorees. The Elevating Women Awards honor companies and organizations that have demonstrated tangible efforts and documented results in supporting and empowering women in New York. Honorees were judged on documented hiring and promoting of women, leadership positions held by women, advocacy for the cause of women internally and externally, and efforts to cultivate the next generation of women professionals. The winners were selected by the Rochester Business Journal leadership team. The 2026 Elevating Women winners will know that companies that support women support the community, which makes good business sense. These businesses provide a pathway for women to learn and grow in their careers and in their personal lives, said Suzanne Fisher-Huetner, Managing Director of Bridgetower Media / Rochester Business Journal. We at the Rochester Business Journal congratulate these forward-thinking businesses for making a difference in Rochester and beyond. The Elevating Women winners will be honored at the Rochester Business Journal's Women's Leadership Summit, September 24th at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center, 123 East Main Street. Elevating Women Award recipients are invited to attend a VIP reception at 11 a.m. The summit from 11:30 to 4 p.m. features a networking reception and the Elevating Women Awards ceremony at noon, followed by a fireside chat about leading with purpose in a fast-changing world, an applied AI workshop with the Glissano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship, and breakout sessions on topics such as reclaiming 10 hours a week of your life, how to make yourself irreplaceable in the age of AI, and can AI handle my financial future? The summit concludes with a networking reception. The event hashtag is #RBJEvents. Attendance is limited. Honorees and sponsors get the first chance to secure tables. Sponsorship includes a table for guests, multimedia marketing, logo usage, and more. To secure a sponsorship and to ensure you and your guests can celebrate together, contact Suzanne Fisher-Huetner at SHUETTNER@bridgetowermedia.com. Winners will be profiled in a special section that will be inserted into the September 18th issue of the Rochester Business Journal and will be available at rbj.net. SUNY Brockport raises $49.6 million in record fundraising campaign by Andrea Deckert. SUNY Brockport has closed the largest fundraising campaign in the history of the SUNY Comprehensive University System after raising $49.6 million, nearly $10 million more than its original goal. The university is igniting excellence. The campaign for Brockport surpassed its $40 million target by the close of the fiscal year in June, marking a milestone for the institution and capping more than a decade of growth under former President Dr. Heidi McPherson, who retired earlier this month. Dr. Don Meza-Souffleris has since assumed the presidency as Brockport's 8th president. The campaign was designed to expand scholarship opportunities, strengthen academic programs, and create more experiential learning opportunities for students, while reinforcing the university's role in developing the greater Rochester workforce. This successful campaign is in the top 3 of the things I've helped the university achieve, McPherson said. According to Mike Andriach, Vice President for Advancement and Communications, 62% of the funds raised will support scholarships, making student affordability the campaign's primary focus. Another 9% will be directed toward academic programs. 7% will fund experiential learning opportunities such as internships and study abroad experiences, and 20% will support other priorities, including athletics and the university's general fund. The campaign attracted support across every giving level, from first-time donors to major philanthropists. The level of generosity was impressive, Andriach said, noting the university received a significant number of gifts exceeding $1,000, $100,000, and even $1 million. Corporate donors also played a significant role in helping the school to exceed its goal, he noted. University leaders say the fundraising success will have a direct impact on student outcomes while strengthening the regional economy. McPherson said the expended scholarship support can reduce or eliminate student debt, allowing graduates to enter the workforce with greater financial flexibility. Additional investments in internships, research, and other experiential learning opportunities also better prepare students for careers across the Rochester region. It also raises the profile of not only the school, but the region, she said. The campaign gained significant momentum during the university's most recent fiscal year, which ran from July 1st through June 30th. During that period, donors committed $23 million in gifts, including $4.5 million in outright contributions, Andriach said. University leaders outlined 5 primary goals for the campaign: expanding experiential learning opportunities, increasing scholarship and endowment support, growing emergency financial assistance for students facing unexpected hardships, strengthening the university's operational fund to address emerging needs, and advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives. Those priorities reflected changing student needs. 3 out of every 4 Brockport students receive some form of financial aid or scholarship assistance, underscoring the growing importance of institutional support for college affordability. The fundraising campaign also coincided with a period of sustained enrollment growth. Brockport reported a 23% increase in enrollment over the previous 3 years, reaching nearly 8,000 students and bucking broader national trends of declining college enrollment. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Rochester Business Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Hypervision redefines how humans see through remote machines by RBJ Staff. Unmanned vehicles, drones, and advanced robots handle increasingly dangerous missions. Yet operators control these multi-million-dollar systems using flat monitors and narrow video goggles. This restrictive setup creates dangerous blind spots, disorientation, and heavy cognitive overload. During an active emergencies or hazardous defense maneuvers, a split-second delay in human perception can cause a total mission failure. These risks aren't acceptable to Hypervision Limited. Instead of forcing operators to view complex scenes through a restrictive digital window, the startup has introduced a more practical way for humans to interact with remote machines. Its proprietary technology, Reality First-Person View, RFPV, merges multiple camera feeds into a continuous wide-field view. Because this view matches the natural scale, depth, and wide boundary of human sight, a concept known as human-scale telepresence, operators can easily spot peripheral obstacles and make quicker, more confident decisions from a safe distance, turning fragmented feeds into immersive scene awareness. Traditional remote control setups force users to toggle between multiple monitors or look through basic, narrow, first-person view goggles. Hypervision eliminates this friction. Its RFPV platform maps 360-degree stereo and low-light camera feeds into a continuous view. This design ensures operators instinctively notice motion, obstacles, and peripheral threats that fall completely outside the standard video windows. High-detail picture-in-picture windows layer over the view to preserve weapon sights, payload imagery, or artificial intelligence detections without losing full context. The commercial urgency for this capability has intensified. Real-world tactical operations demonstrate that unmanned ground vehicles keep people out of harm's way, but only if the operator perceives the scene with natural speed and confidence. Hypervision software achieves this without requiring a costly redesign of the robot itself. It layers directly onto existing 360-degree imaging hardware and operator terminals. The business economics are equally compelling for fleet managers. While our modern robotic platform can cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, integrating an RFPV operator station requires a low relative investment of about $20,000. By maximizing human performance and decision confidence, this modest addition effectively triples the operational value of those expensive fleet assets, ensuring organizations get the absolute most out of their technology investments. Equipping frontlines, first responders, and future avatars. Hypervision's technology improves situational awareness across multiple high-stakes industries. The team is currently scaling its core perception engine to meet the specific needs of 3 target markets: defense and tactical systems, powering unmanned ground and aerial vehicles, UGVs and UAVs, to protect perimeter defense nodes and execute high-risk reconnaissance without exposing personnel to direct danger. Public safety and emergency response, enabling firefighters, police departments, and hazardous materials teams to navigate active disaster scenes safely while keeping first responders out of immediate harm's way. Industrial supervision and future avatars, supporting the emerging role of robotics operations supervisor, where a single human can monitor and guide multiple autonomous systems. Over time, this path leads towards avatar-style remote presence for complex service, agriculture, healthcare, consumer, and industrial environments. Advancing innovation through Rochester's OPI assets. To speed the transition of its advanced optical designs into physical products, Hypervision applied to Luminate, New York, and Rochester, New York. As the world's largest accelerator program for optics, photonics, and imaging (OPI) technologies, Luminate gives the Israel-based company a soft landing into the U.S. market alongside curated experts and investors. Luminate has helped us translate our technical strengths into compelling messages that we're using to conduct further customer discovery, said Dr. Arthur Rabner, founder and CEO of Hypervision. We're also getting exposed to the unique technical knowledge, specialized suppliers, and manufacturing experience that exists in the Finger Lakes that could help us move our advanced prototype optics to our mass manufacturable U.S.-based product path. This production push will align perfectly with national efforts to modernize high-risk industries by pulling human workers out of hazardous environments. Addressing modern workforce shortages requires finding a better way to handle demanding, repetitive, and hazardous manual tasks, notes Dr. Sujatha Ramanujan, Managing Director and Chief Investment Officer of Luminate. Hypervision's technology will unlock opportunities to move more of these manual processes to intelligent systems. By allowing a human to operate seamlessly through a machine, the industry can achieve entirely new levels of operational access, precision, and efficiency that were previously out of reach. From concept to mass production. Hypervision established the initial utility of its technology through proof-of-concept collaborations with industry heavyweights Google and Anduril. These projects focused on advanced optics for mixed reality systems and future Soldier-Borne Mission Command (SBMC) helmets. Through these frameworks, the company released a proof of concept and demonstrated how ultra-wide visual engines can integrate natural human perception directly into unmanned platforms. Using what they learned from these initial projects, Hypervision is now directing its attention away from prototyping toward hardware production. However, transitioning into physical manufacturing requires significant capital. The company hopes when Luminate concludes with its finals competition on September 30th, they are named Company of the Year, a distinction that comes with $1 million in follow-on funding. The event, supported by Empire State Development's Finger Lake Forward Upstate Revitalization Initiative, will award more than $2 million in investments to select companies in Cohort 9. Securing this investment will allow us to establish a permanent U.S. operating entity and immediately fund our first optics pilots manufacturing batch with Rochester area full-cycle production, including optical injection molding and coating partners, said Rabner. This capital will establish inventory readiness we need to supply our RFPV visual engines on demand for upcoming customer trials, while formalizing our research partnerships with the Rochester Institute of Technologies and University of Rochester. J. Advertising Ferdinand J. Smith, ready to launch Caring Cartoon for Kids, by Kevin Oklobzija. For nearly 50 years, the founders of J. Advertising have created marketing campaigns and musical scores that have resonated with consumers and captivated clients. Now they're using their talents to bring to fruition a Ferdinand J. Smith vision more than a decade in the making, and in the process will provide children's programming filled with positivity and giving spirit. Suitcase Puppy is a cartoon character who will, through each animated episode, bring kids on a learning journey while emphasizing the importance of sharing and caring. Each episode will be a cartoon musical with a feel-good message and a sing-along beat. We're going to do music better than what we've seen on other kids' shows, but we want parents to like the music as well, because we want them co-viewing it with their kids, said Smith, who composed HBO's theme music and the Emmy-nominated When It Was a Game and the theme song for Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. The idea for Suitcase Puppy was set in motion more than 10 years ago and is now nearing completion. Smith and his brother Greg, co-founders of J Advertising, expect the cartoon to launch on YouTube before the end of the year. We'll take a little from Mr. Rogers, Captain Kangaroo, and the Mickey Mouse Club, Ferdinand Smith said. We'll be urging children to do the right thing and instilling emotional positivity. What kind thing can you do? But the message will be coming from the dog. Smith said the reaction from focus groups has been the same. We need this. While Ferdinand is the creative mind behind the project, he said the impetus behind the idea was his wife, Elaine. Before retirement, she taught fourth graders and, according to her husband, cared less about perfect marks and more about how they felt about themselves. Thus, spreading the message of positivity will be the goal of Suitcase Puppy. There will be a cast of writers, including Jay Smith, Bruce Hopman, Ben Bouchard, and Peter Mott, along with Ferdinand, who also will demo the style for the voice of Suitcase Puppy and his pal, Dewey. They'll then use electronics to style the voice to the desired quality and sound. They'll use artificial intelligence for animation. With proper input, AI is very good, Smith said. Doing the work in Rochester at the J Advertising facility with its production equipment and elaborate sound studio will allow the project to qualify for incentives through the New York State's Film Tax Credit Program, he said. The hope is that the cartoon eventually will be brought to a network, perhaps HBO, and that there will be live productions a la Disney on Ice or Dora the Explorer. Rochester CPA firms expand client advisory services role, by Corey Putnam. The traditional role of accountants is evolving beyond tax returns and financial statements. Through Client Advisory Services, CAS, firms are helping clients plan ahead, navigate challenges, and make more informed financial decisions year-round. That shift has helped make CAS the fastest-growing service area for CPA firms according to the latest CPA.com and AICPA CAS benchmark survey. Rochester Business Journal spoke with 3 accounting leaders about how the model is reshaping the profession and changing the way businesses access financial expertise. "We used to be the scorekeepers," said Greg Genovese, partner and practice lead for outsourced accounting and finance at the Bonadio Group. "Now we're in the room with management and leadership, helping them make real-time decisions." Genovese said the profession has shifted from reporting what already happened to helping business owners make decisions before they happen. Rather than simply preparing financial statements or reconciling accounts, CAS professionals provide forecasting, performance metrics, and strategic guidance that helps leaders understand where their business is headed. Now they're looking for proactive guidance, Genovese said. "They know where they've been. They want us to tell them where they need to go." Genovese said advances in cloud-based technology and changing client expectations have fueled the rapid growth of CAS. Businesses no longer need to hire separate bookkeepers, controllers, and chief financial officers to access different levels of financial expertise. Instead, they can outsource those functions through a single provider. As a result, accountants are increasingly serving as an extension of a client's leadership team, helping business owners evaluate where the company has been, where it's headed, and what decisions should come next. "We're helping leaders make better informed decisions," Genovese said. At Witham, Nick Kaijala, CPA and member of the Advisory Services Group, said the biggest change clients noticed with CAS isn't the accounting itself, but the relationship. Rather than simply handling back-office financial tasks, they become an extension of a client's leadership team. "A back-office provider processes transactions," Kaijala said. "CAS, as an extension of leadership, means the team sits at the table when the decisions are being made." Kaijala said that level of involvement is what clients value most, including Donna Crayer, Ph.D., founder of Rezenity Health and a Witham client. "Our team at Witham truly feels like part of our organization," Crayer said. "They have also played a key role in supporting strategic planning. Knowing that they have accounting and finance reliably covered allows me to focus my time and energy on growing and managing my business." Kaijala said that level of involvement also changes how accountants communicate with clients. Rather than simply presenting financial statements, CAS professionals help business leaders make sense of complex financial information, turning it into actionable insights to support more confident decision-making. That advisory role also helps build trust, Kaijala said. Because CAS professionals work with businesses across industries, they bring benchmarking data, best practices, and lessons learned from advising a wide range of organizations. Their broader perspective allows them to provide recommendations informed by expertise gained from advising a wide range of clients. "The advisory component is what sets firms apart," Kaijala said. "We want clients to feel like we're an extension of them, not a transactional relationship." That approach is also one reason more businesses are turning to outsourced accounting, Kaijala said. Many companies don't need or can't justify maintaining a full in-house accounting department. Instead, a fractional model gives them access to experienced financial professionals and specialized expertise while allowing support to scale as business needs change. "Instead of just reporting on what happened, we're helping clients see what's coming and build a plan around it," Kaijala said. As more businesses look beyond traditional accounting support, Denise Asker, Chief Growth Officer at Insero Advisors, said the appeal of CAS goes beyond cost savings. Businesses seek outsourced accounting services when they need access to experienced financial leadership, advanced technology, and strategic advisory expertise without the lift and expense of building a full in-house finance team, Asker said. Asker said CAS gives organizations access to accounting expertise ranging from day-to-day transaction support to CFO-level guidance without hiring several full-time employees. The model provides timely financial information and proactive guidance that helps organizations scale and make more informed decisions. She emphasized that CAS isn't intended to replace traditional accounting or compliance services. Instead, it complements those functions by giving organizations ongoing financial support from inside the business rather than only periodic guidance from the outside. That combination allows leaders to address day-to-day operational decisions while continuing to meet regulatory and stakeholder expectations. "The best CAS providers take the time to understand a client's goals, challenges, and operations," said Asker, noting that the approach often means helping organizations modernize financial operations and improve the quality of information available to leadership. One client, for example, relied on a manual, paper-based accounting system that limited visibility into its financial performance. Working with management, Insero implemented new technology, digitized processes, and automated key accounting functions, allowing accounting staff to spend less time on transactional work and more time supporting the organization's strategic decision-making. Leadership gained greater visibility into the organization's financial position through more timely reporting, while improved controls and financial insights streamlined the financing process and made it easier to secure funding for future growth. The improvements also gave the organization's board greater confidence in the accuracy and timelessness of its financial information, allowing leaders to plan proactively rather than react to problems as they arose. CAS focuses on delivering actionable insights and measurable business outcomes, not just accurate financial reporting, Asker said. Corey Putnam is a Rochester area freelance writer, and you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Rochester Business Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Accountants Emphasize Year-Round Tax Planning Benefits in New York by Corey Putnam. While tax preparation may happen once a year, tax planning is becoming increasingly proactive. Accountants say working with clients year-round helps identify opportunities, minimize tax liability, and avoid costly surprises before filing season arrives. Tax work used to be mostly rearview mirror compliance. We'd gather documents, prepare the return, file it, and everyone moved on until next season, said Mario DeLuigi, CPA, AEP, Partner Tax and Business Services, EFPR, a Springline company. Today, the role has evolved into a year-round planning and advisory function. DeLuigi said the shift has been driven by increasingly complex tax laws, evolving reporting requirements, and clients seeking guidance before making major financial decisions. Advances in technology have also made it easier for accountants to share timely information and stay connected with clients throughout the year. We can stay in closer contact through newsletters, articles, and timely updates from the IRS and state taxing authorities, DeLuigi said. As a result, clients increasingly see their tax professionals as a resource before they make major financial decisions, not after. That ongoing relationship has become even more important as IRS and state tax agencies have expanded their own technology. DeLuigi said clients are receiving more notices and correspondence questioning return items, increasing the need for accountants to respond quickly and navigate issues after tax returns have been filed. Working with the tax advisor throughout the year delivers two major advantages: fewer surprises and better decisions, DeLuigi said. Instead of discovering issues after the fact when the tax return is being prepared, you can make proactive moves while there's still time to influence the outcome, maximizing tax savings before deadlines close and before transactions are finalized. For individuals, DeLuigi said year-round planning helps coordinate tax strategy with investment and financial decisions that may otherwise have unintended consequences. For example, a portfolio rebalance may trigger unexpected capital gains and a larger tax bill than anticipated, he said. Reviewing those moves in advance can help manage the tax impact, adjust timing, and avoid penalties by fine-tuning withholding or estimated tax payments. Businesses see similar benefits when tax planning is integrated into broader operational and strategic decisions rather than treated as an annual compliance exercise. That includes evaluating business structure, planning for the tax implications of equipment or property purchases, forecasting the timing and payment of taxes, and assessing opportunities to acquire other business or prepare for a sale, DeLuigi said. The result is more confident decision-making, better cash flow planning, and a smoother, less stressful tax season, because the return becomes the final step in an ongoing plan, not a once-a-year scramble. Waiting until tax season, however, means those opportunities have already passed. Many of the best tax-saving levers are timing-dependent, so the most common missed opportunities show up when clients wait until the W-2s and the 1099s arrive, because by then, a lot of decisions are already locked in, DeLuigi said. Those missed opportunities often involve retirement contributions, estimated tax payments, withholding adjustments, capital gains planning, charitable giving, and business purchases, decisions that generally must be made before key deadlines have passed. DeLuigi cited New York's Pass-Through Entity Tax, PTET, election as one example of why timing matters. We worked with clients well ahead of tax season who were anticipating major transactions, such as the sale of a business or the sale of a building, he said. Because we knew the transaction was coming, we were able to evaluate whether the PTET election applied, model the impact, and get the election filed on time, before the deal was already in motion. DeLuigi said the greatest benefit wasn't simply reducing taxes, but preserving options, and improving cash flow visibility before major financial decisions were finalized. Christina Stamatis, CPA, partner at MMB & Co., said one of the biggest misconceptions is that tax planning happens when a return is prepared. The biggest benefit is that many of the most valuable tax planning opportunities are only available before a transaction takes place, not after the year is ended, Stamatis says. The key is to be proactive rather than reactive. For businesses, year-round planning can help maximize deductions and credits, improve cash flow, and revisit business structures, succession plans, and growth strategies as circumstances change. For individuals, ongoing planning helps coordinate retirement contributions, investment decisions, charitable giving, estate planning, and withholding strategies. It can also reduce surprises at tax time, improve financial predictability, and provide greater confidence in decision-making throughout the year, Stamatis says. She recalled working with growing business that was planning significant capital investments while also evaluating future ownership and succession strategies. Rather than waiting until year-end, we met with management throughout the year and prepared multiple tax projections under different scenarios, Stamatis says. Those projections help the owners determine optimal timing of equipment purchases, evaluate available depreciation incentives, and coordinate compensation strategies with projected business income. The result, she said, was meaningful tax savings, stronger cash flow forecasting, and greater confidence in several important business decisions. More importantly, ownership was able to evaluate multiple scenarios and make strategic decisions based on projected outcomes, rather than reacting after the fact, Stamatis says. Stamatis says that's the real value of year-round tax planning. Rather than simply reducing taxes, proactive planning gives clients the clarity and insight needed to make better business decisions before the critical decisions are finalized. A tax return tells the story of what happened last year, she said. Tax planning focuses on what happens next. The new question business owners should be asking their CPAs. A Viewpoint by Mark Kowaleski. For most of its history, the accounting profession has evolved gradually. Then, almost overnight, that changed. After more than a century of relatively steady ownership models, the last few years have brought a wave of mergers, acquisitions, and private equity investments unlike anything most CPAs have experienced. It's one of the biggest shifts our profession has seen in decades, and it's changing the questions business owners should be asking when choosing a trusted advisor. As businesses move into the second half of the year and begin planning for year-end, many owners are focused on the usual priorities: cash flow, taxes, succession planning, and growth. But there's one more issue that deserves a place on the list. Who owns my CPA firm, and does it matter? It's not a question many business owners have traditionally asked. For decades, accounting firms operated much the same way, with local ownership, long-term partner succession, and client relationships that have often lasted generations. Today, that landscape is changing. Private equity firms have become increasingly interested in accounting firms for several reasons. While loyal, long-term client relationships are certainly part of the appeal, firms also offer predictable recurring revenue through services like tax preparation, significant opportunities to scale, and the ability to expand to higher-value advisory services through cross-selling. Nationally, dozens of firms have accepted outside investment or merged into larger organizations backed by private equity. Here in Western New York, we've seen a growing number of regional firms announce transactions over the past 2 years alone. That doesn't mean private equity is inherently good or bad. Like any business decision, firms pursue these transactions for different reasons. Some are looking for capital to invest in technology and artificial intelligence. Others are addressing succession planning or looking to expand the services they can offer clients. Those are legitimate business considerations. The more important question is what these changes mean for business owners selecting a long-term advisor. Your relationship with your CPA is different from many other professional relationships. A CPA isn't simply preparing tax returns or financial statements. Over time, they become a part of the decision-making process. They understand your business, your family, your succession plans, and often help guide some of the most significant financial decisions you'll make. That's why governance matters. If you've worked with the same accounting firm for 20 years and receive a letter announcing new ownership, I'd encourage business owners to ask questions as they would with any trusted advisor. Will my engagement team stay the same? Who will be making decisions about the firm's future? How will this affect continuity, pricing, or client service? What's the firm's long-term strategy? They aren't difficult questions, they're simply good due diligence. Business owners routinely ask similar questions of their banks, insurance carriers, lenders, and technology providers. As ownership models evolve with the accounting profession, I believe those same conversations should become standard when evaluating an accounting firm. One trend I expect to continue is that clients will increasingly ask prospective firms about their own strategic plans. In fact, we've already been asked whether MMB & Co.'s long-term strategy includes remaining independent, merging, or pursuing private equity. A few years ago, that would have been an unusual question. Today, it's a reflection of how quickly the profession is changing. For us, the answer is clear. We've chosen to remain an independently owned CPA firm because we believe local ownership, long-term continuity, and local decision-making best position us to serve our clients and our community over the long term. Just as importantly, we answer to our clients, not outside investors. That philosophy has shaped our firm for nearly 50 years, and it continues to guide our strategic planning today. Choosing a CPA has always been about technical expertise. Increasingly, it's also about understanding the governance behind the organization you're trusting with your business. Business owners should think beyond next year's tax return and consider where their advisor will be 5 or 10 years from now. If you're planning to transition your company to the next generation, complete an acquisition, or navigate changing regulatory environment, continuity matters. So does confidence that the people advising you today will continue to understand your business tomorrow. At the same time, it's important to recognize that every ownership model has strengths. Larger organizations may offer access to broader technical resources or specialized expertise. Independent firms often emphasize local decision-making, continuity, and long-term relationships. Every business owner should decide which attributes best align with the way they want to be advised. One thing hasn't changed, regardless of ownership structure. Trust remains the foundation of our profession. Clients don't hire accountants to simply prepare financial statements. They seek judgment, perspective, and guidance from professionals who understand their goals and will help them navigate important decisions over many years. As our profession continues to evolve, I believe business owners will become more intentional about understanding not only who their CPA is, but also how their firm is structured, how decisions are made, and whether that aligns with the kind of advisory relationship they want for the future. Those conversations aren't about choosing sides in an industry trend. They're about making informed decisions for the long-term success of your business. Mark Kowaleski is Managing Partner, MMB & Co. Rochester aims to lead as a national innovation economy. On Business by Robert J. Duffy. For generations, Rochester has been a place where the future was invented. The camera that transformed how the world captured memories, the copier that changed how information is shared, advanced optics, imaging technologies, medical breakthroughs, and countless innovations that helped shape the modern world were born right in our backyard. But today we're at a crossroads and face an important question. Will we, as a region, build on the innovation that is integral to our region's DNA, attracting new opportunities, investment, and progress, or are we satisfied with our historical legacy? I believe the answer is clear. The next great opportunity for Greater Rochester is to become one of America's leading innovation economies, a place where possibility turns into progress, ideas turn into companies, companies create jobs, and jobs create opportunities for us all to rise together. Our region already possesses many of the ingredients necessary for success, and the world has noticed. In 2019, researchers out of MIT identified Greater Rochester as the #1 metro area for future technology growth in the United States. In 2023, Rochester was named a federal tech hub alongside our partners in Buffalo and Syracuse. And, just this July, our region was selected as a national laser innovation hub through the NSF Engines program. These designations and investments come thanks to world-class universities in our region. Thanks to the researchers, entrepreneurs, engineers, healthcare professionals, and skilled workers who call our region home. Thanks to the globally recognized leaders in optics, photonics, and advanced imaging, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, emerging semiconductor technologies, and other industry experts. We have all of the ingredients for success. What we choose to do with them is the challenge. Our region, from economic champions to elected leaders to frontline workers, needs to unite around a common goal to power the future. As Jim Sonal articulated in his recent column, we need to mobilize these leaders to be catalysts and align around an economic North Star. We've proved we can innovate. Now we must prove we can organize. We've seen this as a proven model for success. Pittsburgh has dialed in on robotics and advanced technology. Austin has built a global technology ecosystem. The Research Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, North Carolina, became a model for commercializing university research. Each of these regions chose a mission, aligned on a vision, and moved strategically with the understanding that innovation isn't just invention, but the creation of economic opportunity that comes along with it. If Rochester can commit to doing the same, opportunity is endless. If we can commit to strengthening the connection between research and commercialization, we can make it easier for innovators to scale business here in Rochester rather than leaving. If we can commit to embracing entrepreneurship, we will breed the next Kodak, Xerox, Paychex, or Constellation brands, all companies that once began with a small team working on a breakthrough idea. If we can commit to talent attraction and retention as a communal responsibility, we will prove to the thousands of students graduating from our region's academic institutions each year that they can build a career and a life right here. If we commit to strengthening our startup ecosystem, we can provide the capital, mentoring, support, and opportunities to grow companies in Rochester. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, if we commit to working together, we can reach our goals. Economic success is a team sport. No single organization, university, agency, business, foundation, elected official, or person can build an innovation economy alone. The communities that succeed are ones that align around common goals and move forward together. This mission belongs to all of us. When we all work together, big things will be possible. In office parks, research labs, and executive boardrooms, the future will be created. And in neighborhoods that have been underinvested and ignored for generations, a brighter future will be ahead. When the mission belongs to all of us, that means all of us must benefit. Workforce development, technical education, and career pathways must be central to this effort to lift people up and expand opportunity throughout the community. Today, Rochester stands at an extraordinary moment. The decisions we make today will tomorrow determine whether we seize the opportunity or let other communities build momentum. I believe Rochester is ready to lead, and I hope you'll join me in getting to work on this. Robert J. Duffy is President and CEO of Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce. Contact him at rduffy@greaterrochester-chamber.com. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Rochester Business Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Maximus cuts Pittsford workforce after losing federal healthcare contract by Andrea Decker. Maximus has reduced its workforce at its Pittsford office following the loss of a federal contract with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The Virginia-based government services company said the workforce impact outlined in a July 24 Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification (WARN) filing with the New York State Department of Labor stems from the loss of its FED-QIC Part C contract with CMS. Maximus closed its Monroe Avenue location on June 30th, according to the WARN notice. The filing reported that 176 local workers were affected. However, a Maximus spokesperson said the actual number of employees impacted is lower, with many workers having been placed in other positions within the company. The Monroe Avenue site also remains open to Maximus employees working on other contracts, the spokesperson said. Maximus provides services to federal, state, and local government agencies, including administering public programs, modernizing healthcare infrastructure, and operating customers' contact centers. The company also works with government agencies on health and human services, technology, and other public sector programs. Headquartered in McLean, Virginia, Maximus has operations in the U.S. as well as Canada, India, and the United Kingdom and Saudi Arabia. Opining on Bill's expectation as training camp at Fisher begins. On Sports by Scott Petoniak. A new era in Buffalo Bills history officially commenced this week when the team opened its 25th training camp at St. John Fisher University in the leafy Rochester suburb of Pittsford. The team has a new head coach, Joe Brady, a new defensive coordinator, Jim Leonard, several promising new players led by free agents DJ Moore and Bradley Chubb, and a new soon-to-be-christened $2.1 billion stadium across the street from the old one in Orchard Park. But amid all the flux, one thing hasn't changed: the fans' enormous expectations. In the land of broken tables and broken hearts, Bills Mafia members continue to have a Super Bowl or bust mentality. The Wizards of Odds in Las Vegas are in agreement, as evidenced by the fact that the stacked Los Angeles Rams are the only team ahead of Buffalo on their list of teams favored to win the Lombardi Trophy. Close, but no victory cigar won't do anymore. Not when you have a unicorn quarterback like Josh Allen still in his prime and a team that has made the playoffs 7 consecutive seasons but still hasn't gotten over the hump. The Bills' penchant for failing to top marvelous regular seasons with Super Bowl berths prompted owner Terry Pegula to jettison coach Sean McDermott and promote general manager Brandon Beane to president of football operations. McDermott will be remembered for ending the Bills' 17-year playoff drought and guiding the team to a 98-50 regular season record and 5 consecutive AFC East titles. He was instrumental in Beane being hired as GM, and for most of their 8 seasons together, the McBean team, worked extremely well together, but fissures developed last season over whether the Bills had a championship roster, and when Buffalo experienced another premature departure from the playoffs last season, McDermott and his 8-8 postseason record were sent packing. In the old hierarchy, McDermott reported to Pegula, but under the new setup, Brady will report to Bean. The pressure will be red hot on Bean and the former Bills offensive coordinator he, Pegula, and Allen promoted to succeed McDermott. Brady has enjoyed his success as an offensive play caller with a national championship team at LSU that featured current Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, and during the past 2 seasons with Allen. But Brady has no head coaching experience, so we don't know if the 36-year-old rookie boss is destined to become the NFL's next big success story or merely another in a long line of coordinators who flopped as CEOs of football teams. He clearly is a more gung-ho personality than his tightly wound predecessor, and he has a good working relationship with Allen, who is heavily involved in the hiring process. Brady will have more on his plate than most head coaches because he has opted to continue his duties as an offensive play caller. It helps that he has a 30-year-old veteran of 8 NFL seasons at quarterback and an offensive coordinator in Pete Carmichael, who has spent 25 years on NFL sidelines and won a Super Bowl ring while coaching Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees in New Orleans. Brady worked for Carmichael in Carolina. Expect the new coach to lean heavily on his old mentor, especially while preparing game plans. Brady's ultimate success will depend on how well the Bills' defense plays, particularly in the postseason. McDermott, who was a defensive specialist, took more of a bend-don't-break approach, and it often broke in the playoffs, squandering mostly stellar performances by Allen and the offense. Under Leonard, Buffalo is expected to be in attack mode more often. Fans love to hear that, but questions remain whether Leonard has the personnel to employ a more aggressive scheme. Pass rushing has been a Bills' bugaboo, particularly in the postseason, despite heavy investments by Bean in free agency and the draft to address the issue. Chubb, a 30-year-old edge rusher and former first-round Denver Broncos draft pick, was signed to get after the quarterback, and Bean has to hope this turns out better than previous acquisitions, Von Miller and Joey Bosa. TJ Sanders, Buffalo's second-round pick in 2025, is another rusher who bears watching and might thrive in Leonard's new 3-4 scheme. Offensively, many eyes will be trained on Moore, who had 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons in Chicago before regressing last year. Bean, who traded a second-round draft pick to acquire Moore, is hoping he can become the number 1 receiver and Buffalo has been lacking since parting ways with Stephon Diggs 2 years ago. If Moore returns to form, tight end Dalton Kincaid stays healthy, slot receiver Khalil Shakir remains productive, and draft bust Keon Coleman finally lives up to his potential, this could be one of the best groups of pass catchers Allen has thrown to. Bean will be rolling the dice with 7-year veteran kicker Tyler Bass, who missed all of last season with an injury. Bass connected on 82% of his field goal attempts in the past 2 seasons he played, but missed 5 extra points in 2024. Interestingly, he won't have any competition at camp. Bills Mafia has every right to be optimistic because they have the best football player on the planet in Allen, who followed up his 2024 MVP season by throwing for 25 touchdowns and rushing for 14 more, remarkable considering he played the latter half of the season on a broken foot. Both Bean and Brady say pressure is a privilege. That's a good attitude to take, because the veteran GM and rookie head coach are going to be under enormous pressure during the Super Bowl or bust season. Best-selling author, nationally honored journalist Scott Petoniak is the Rochester Business Journal's sports columnist. Leadership, Trust, and the Challenge of Public Safety. Guest at the Table by Dom Genova. Every successful organization faces the same fundamental challenge, earning trust while adapting to change. Whether the organization is a Fortune 500 company, a family-owned business, or a municipal police department, leadership ultimately comes down to solving problems, building relationships, and making difficult decisions under public scrutiny. That was the focus of a recent edition of my No-Nonsense Roundtable, where I sat down with Rochester Police Chief David Smith for a wide-ranging conversation about modern policing, leadership, and the realities behind the headlines. Chief Smith's journey into law enforcement began long before he wore a badge. As a teenager, he discovered a calling for public service that eventually led him through the Police Explorers program, Monroe Community College, and into one of the most competitive hiring environments the Rochester Police Department had ever experienced. His story illustrates a lesson familiar to many business leaders. Careers are often built through preparation, persistence, and a willingness to embrace opportunity. But our conversation quickly moved beyond biography. One of the recurring themes was the changing relationship between institutions and the public they serve. Smith acknowledged that law enforcement, like many professions today, operates in an environment where public confidence has been challenged, and social media often amplifies conflict rather than understanding. He noted that respectful disagreement has become increasingly difficult, replaced too often by outrage and polarization. That observation extends well beyond policing. Business owners, educators, healthcare professionals, and civic leaders all face the same reality. Public opinion can be shaped in minutes, and leadership increasingly requires the ability to communicate clearly while maintaining public trust. Perhaps the most encouraging part of our discussion centered on measurable progress rather than rhetoric. Chief Smith described how the department has shifted from a broad enforcement effort toward a data-driven strategy focused on identifying specific locations where gun violence occurs most frequently. Rather than simply increasing patrols across large areas, officers concentrate resources on small geographic segments while emphasizing foot patrols, conversations with residents, and stronger relationships with neighborhood businesses. The philosophy is simple: understand the problem before trying to solve it. That approach has produced encouraging results. According to Smith, Rochester has experienced significant reductions in gun violence by combining intelligence, accountability, and community engagement instead of relying solely on traditional enforcement tactics. It is a reminder that effective leadership often means working smarter rather than simply working harder. Another topic that resonated throughout the interview was the importance of partnerships. Smith repeatedly emphasized that police officers cannot solve every social problem placed before them. Mental health crises, addiction, homelessness, and domestic disputes frequently become police calls because no other immediate response exists. While officers receive extensive training in de-escalation, he believes lasting solutions require collaboration among law enforcement, healthcare providers, social service organizations, educators, and community leaders. For anyone who manages an organization, that lesson is familiar. Complex problems rarely have single-agency solutions. The conversation also touched on New York's bail reform laws and how changes in criminal justice policy affect day-to-day policing. Rather than offering political soundbites, Chief Smith focused on operational realities, what works well, what could be improved, and why continual evaluation is necessary whenever major policy changes are implemented. One of the most moving moments came as we discussed Officer Denny Wright, who was permanently blinded while responding to what began as a routine domestic disturbance. Despite suffering life-changing injuries, Wright has continued serving the Rochester community as an ambassador for the department, speaking to new recruits and reminding us all that courage often reveals itself long after the headlines disappear. His story serves as a powerful reminder that behind every uniform is a person who accepted extraordinary responsibility on behalf of the community. Throughout our hour together, Chief Smith remained thoughtful, candid, and remarkably pragmatic. Rather than searching for applause or controversy, he consistently returned to one central idea: successful policing depends on trust, accountability, continuous improvement, and meaningful relationships with the community. Those principles happen to describe successful leadership in almost every profession. The No Nonsense Roundtable is a weekly radio show Saturdays at 10 a.m. on Rochester WYSL 1040. It is also published on the No Nonsense YouTube channel that very same day. Past shows can also be accessed at nononsense-roundtable.com. You've been listening to a reading of July 31st issue of the Rochester Business Journal. Your reader has been Randy Silva. Thank you for listening.